Hello, my beautiful people. How are we doing? Now, apologies that this video has taken so long to get out. I wish this was my full-time job, but unfortunately I do have to work around my work schedule, which has been a bit busy, but hopefully there is enough depth in this video to make it worth the wait. That's right, we are back on Hozier because we have been gifted another unreleased until now song from the Wasteland Baby era, and as a humble servant to the Fae realm, it's my job to talk about it. Why Would You Be Loved is an interesting one because I can see how it didn't make the final cut, but I can also see how it fits in so well. I would say stance-wise, it differs from the bulk of the album, which I believe really centers around embracing feeling when you boil it all down. But this is kind of challenging that idea. It's asking what is the point of risking your emotional well-being for love? Like, what is the point of that gamble? And while the album isn't what I would call optimistic, it definitely doesn't reach this level of pessimism that's expressed in this song. However, Hozier did talk about the album as if it was different songs screaming into the fire at the end of the world. So in that sense, I can actually see where this fits in very well. There's always the chance too that Hozier is employing a unreliable narrator to challenge his views, or perhaps, in his heart, he is a fence post sitter, and this is just exploring that other side. Sonically, there's a lot of very obvious similarities with movement, and to some degree, I'd also say B, the original one that came out with the first album. So I would love to ask him if perhaps this song was a first draft of the others, or vice versa, where that sort of sound came from. There's the stomp clapping, organ sounds, like heavily processed guitar, choir sort of singing harmonies. Musically, this song is very identifiably from this album's era. This is definitely one of the saddest tracks he's ever released. It hurts. There's no real offering of an alternate view or relief anywhere in the song, and it sort of makes you question the ethics of love. Now let's get into these lyrics and really dissect them. It's only said to be kind the time that you have with love. You're never told that you're loaned it. It's often said that someone's on borrowed time when they're close to their death, so that kind of sets us up for the mood of the rest of the song. It's a lie, the high you have with love. It feels like gold when you hold it, and know it's sweet to know when it's gone, baby. The high is a lie. I can really understand that line because when you are in love, you are releasing a whole bunch of chemicals and hormones. There's dopamine and oxytocin, serotonin, and the more those are released, the more you think that you are in love, or more in love than you actually are. There's certainly moments I look back on and think, what was I smoking? I was not in love. It feels like gold is interesting to me. Obviously, gold is rare and precious, but what jumped out at me and what my mind immediately went to was actually the weight of gold. Gold is heavy. I mean, I know we see movies where crooks break into banks and are throwing gold bars in bags to carry out, but you cannot do that. Have you ever tried to pick up a gold bar? Here in Perth, you can visit AEST State Mint, where they make coins, and they have in one room a gold bar in sort of a glass case, and there's a hole that you can put your hand through, and the challenge is to try and pick it up. And you can't, it is impossible. So to me, the next line, and know it's sweet to know when it's gone, means it's almost a relief when it's gone, because love is so heavy to carry. Why would you be loving? And hey, why would you be loved? Hey, why would you? That's what I've always been saying. I mean, it's a good question to ask within the context of this album. Why would you pursue something so uncertain when time is already so uncertain itself? And then it's interesting because you have sort of the opposite of that in No Plan. And he's sort of saying, we're doomed anyway, so I'm your man if you need some loving. Now the world falls apart and it starts with their acting up. I wouldn't say it, but I blame them. The bleeding hearts, the arts, and the other stuff. But you are saying it. This, I think, could come back to that idea of an unreliable narrator because, obviously Hozier is an artist himself. He is a bleeding heart, and that is an understatement when it comes to his work. But perhaps, in a way, he does blame himself too, sort of in the way that he is his own worst enemy by creating these lofty expectations of love. All the same motivations will melt away like snowflakes on a tongue, baby. So why? Basically, in the face of conflict, love crumbles. We're taught that love conquers all, but we know that that's not actually true. Often tumultuous events will break a couple apart no matter how hard they try or how strong they were in the beginning, because the motivation to be together just doesn't make sense anymore. So he's asking, why bother? Why would you play it all on something as hollow as trust? What if you gave it all to find it wasn't enough? What if under the gaze of it all you come short when the going gets rough? Why would you play it all on something as hollow as trust has got to be my favorite line from this song. It really punches you. Trust is so fragile. It can be broken in literally the matter of seconds. You can never really truly know someone's intentions. So you can never really fully entrust someone with your heart. And the illusion of trust is so easy to conjure, and a really convincing illusion of trust. It's not much effort. It seems here that Hozier has real trouble with the what ifs, and I can really sympathize with that, because they are actually really reasonable questions to be asking at a time like this. They look for something to be done for those that are most in pain. What about me and my aching? Institutions are constantly looking for ways to improve the lives of those in physical pain. But what can be done about heartbreak? Concessions can be made for the disabled, the elderly, the ill, but what sort of concession can you make for heartbreak? You know, you kind of have to go on with your life. You have to go to work, all while feeling as though your whole world has crumbled. People can die of a broken heart. We know that. And I think this is sort of a plea for help. The scales rehung, the breaking of yoke and chain. What about me and my breaking? The scales rehung, I think, refers to equality being granted once again, you know, justice being introduced into the world. The breaking of yoke and chain is an interesting image. A yoke is a big sort of wooden bar that is shared across the back and necks of usually oxen to do work in fields, whether that be carrying a load or ploughing the earth. So it's a sign of bondage and a sign of slavery, much like chains. And the breaking of a yoke has been quite a significant image, especially in the church throughout history. I mean, looking at the Bible here, we have Jeremiah 38. For it shall come to pass on that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. The breaking of a yoke, the breaking of chains, it is freedom being granted. But Hozier is asking, what about my breaking? Because his breaking is actually the opposite. It's a burden and it's heavy. He's asking, what about my liberation? What about my salvation? And if you ain't for all, how could you try it all, baby? And that really sums up the song. If you aren't prepared, if you're not willing to take on the risk and take on the damage, why bother? What is it worth? Now, if you're starting to have a crisis, don't worry, take a breath, take a pause. Hozier has plenty of songs that will make you believe in love again. Just go listen to Work Song and calm down. Now that I've waffled on for a bit, it is over to you for your opinions and thoughts, whether you want to build on something I've said or you completely disagree with something I said. All comments are welcome. We really embrace a difference of opinions here. And I can't wait to see what you brilliant people come up with. If this is our first time meeting, hi, I'm Honor. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you want to join our little community here on YouTube, we don't just talk about Hozier. There's a lot of music related things on this channel. We would love to have you, and all you have to do is subscribe. If you missed it, your May playlist is up and live. There's 10 hand-picked songs from me to soundtrack your month. Go check it out. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you very, very soon.